So thank you so much for making sure that you are here on time, those who came on time. If you have a friend of yours in a particular group, I mean, maybe you are doing DHM, maybe you are doing DCMS, or maybe you are doing whatever course that you're doing. Kindly inform your friends that the class has started and it is going on as we speak. Now, this is public relations. This is public relations, and my name is David Maina. My name is David Maina, and I'll be taking you through this particular course unit. And I hope everything is going to be well. Everything is going to be well. And also, in this particular unit, this is going to be purely online. It's going to be purely online. So don't you ever dream of this class will be a day class unless COVID is over and unless there is nothing to do with COVID in Kenya. So therefore, because this particular course is online, or this particular course unit is online, you are expected to do the online activities for you to be considered having successfully completed it. For you to successfully complete this course, there are activities that will be expected of you to do. Every topic, there will be activities. And majorly, the activities that will never lack, among many others, is discussion forum. A discussion forum has to be there. Quiz is another one, and the quiz is related to the topic that you have been taught. Like today, there is a quiz that will be done, and that quiz will be related to today's topic. All these activities, the quiz and the discussion forum, must be completed within the time frame of the class. Like for example, the class was supposed to start at 11, but we are starting it at 11:21 as we wait for others to join. Then that class is supposed to end at 2. Therefore, it means when I give you an activity after teaching, of course, I would take like approximately at most 1 hour, at least 40 minutes, at most 1 hour, at least 45 or 40 minutes. So in other words, what we are saying is this: within the time that you have been given, kindly ensure that you do your assignment within that particular time frame. Don't call me on a Saturday morning or even on a Sunday afternoon. Ati mwalimu, open the portal for me. That is an assignment that I did not do. No, I will not open it for you, because those activities are supposed to be done within the class time. That's why this class is 3 hours. It's 3 hours because I've been allocated 40 minutes to teach that class. Then the rest of the time is for you to do the activities that are put on the portal. So don't call me. If an activity has passed you by, forget about it, move on. And all these activities are going to comprise, or they are going to affect your final marks at the end of the day. So I don't want you to assume them. Some people come with excuses. I was sick, I was traveling, I was doing this. No, if you are not in that class, forget about that activity, because there is no way we are trying to move forward and you are pulling us back behind. All those activities will be marked immediately the class is over. They will be marked immediately the class is over, including the discussion forum. In this particular, the best thing is that this is not your first time. You're not first years. You're not semester 1. So you know we do 2 cuts, we do 2 assignments. So the activities is another thing that you should add to your coursework. So I'll be looking at the courseworks, at the activities and the performance, how you performed in the activities, for me to be able to give you the final grade. So take them seriously. Take them seriously. So today is 21st of January 2022, and today is our first lesson. And today we are going to learn about public relations. Public relations. There are people who are hearing this word for the first time. There are people who have done public relations before. Maybe you did a certificate in public relations from a certain college or from a certain university. And this is not the first time you're hearing public relations. But I'll tell you that public relations has been there. It has been there even if it was not known here in Kenya. There is somebody, a lecturer of mine, told me that public relations started a long time ago. And it started when Jesus washed the disciples' feet. That was public relations. That's a lecturer who told me that. Another one said that public relations starts when a child is born. Immediately a child is born, then that is where PR starts. So you can imagine the first person to be created on earth was Adam and Eve. That's where the PR started. So therefore, we will focus on PR. PR is a very good unit because it touches so much on everything. In fact, it should be made a common unit, like communication skills. There is a person who defines public relations and says that public relations is like the air that we breathe in. You cannot say that you're not going to have public relations. The way you dress, the way you speak, the way you look at people, the color that you paint your house, that is public relations. And you know, colors have got meaning. They have got meaning. When you paint your your house orange, you are portraying a different meaning to us. When you paint your house black, there are those people who like dull colors. The kitchen is painted black. The sitting room is painted black. And the lights are purple lights or blue lights, dark blue. What kind of a place is that? There are people who paint red. Sitting room, the color red. What we call bedroom, the color green. Very, very, very funny colors. All these colors, they communicate something about you. It's just like communication. Again, and in fact, public relations is a communication discipline. Public relations is a communication discipline. Somebody is saying that my voice is low. This is Beth. Beth, is it okay? Can you hear me now properly? I've increased my voice, my volume. I cannot shout because there are other people who are teaching again. Na watu wanafunza kando yangu. So I don't want to shout and to disorient them. So start teaching what I am saying. Taanza kufunza kile ambacho ninafunza. Again, those people who miss class, before we continue, there is always a recording. After this class, like you can see from the upper left corner of your Zoom, there is recording is going on. So this class is usually recorded and the recordings are put on the portal. They are not put, it is not put immediately, but you will still have to give it time for it to convert to the right format. So like, for example, if you look at it today, right now, the class is supposed to end at 2. If you look at it from 2 or 2:30, the recording will be there. So you can click on the recording and be able to listen to what was taught, to what others were taught. Maybe, for example, you are not able to join the class. You can also do what? It is for the sake of authenticity. Some people may claim that the class did not take place. It is also good for your revision. Maybe there is something that you didn't hear clearly or you didn't get clearly. You can still go back to the recording. And even when you are revising, you can still go back to the portal. Where you clicked the link, you will see after the link, there are notes. After the notes, there is a recording. Every class, that's how it is going to be arranged. So allow me to share my screen so that we can look at PR in details. Allow me to share my screen kindly. So I hope everybody can see my screen. That is my screen. And we are looking at the role of PR in an organization. But before we look at the role of PR in an organization, we need to define it. We need to know what is this animal called PR. What is this animal called PR? Now allow me to go to this definition. I'm going to look at 2 definitions or 3 definitions because of time. And again, these are the best definition as far as I'm concerned. I like them. Yeah, I'm going to look at these definitions by this guy, the British Institute of Public Relations. And I also look at definition by the Mexican Statement. We can still focus on definition by Frank Jeffkins and Daniel Yardley. We can still look at that. But allow me to go to, let us just look at these 3 definitions. There are so many scholars, by the way, as far as PR is concerned, there are so many scholars who have written books. And if you go to the library, you'll find these books. Like Frank Jeffkins and Daniel Yardley, there is a book in the library, Public Relations. There is somebody by the name Sam Black, he has written a book. There is Catlip, who has written a book. There is Philip J. Kitchen, who has written a book. There is Philip Henslow, who has written a book. And so many, and there is what we call Weintraub and Pinklet. These ones, all these people, they have written books, and these books are in the library. And the one that I'm very sure that is in the library is Frank Jeffkins. If you go there, you find that particular book, and it's a very good book. So therefore, let's start defining public relations before we go to the roles of public relations in an organization. So public relations is a planned and sustained effort to establish and maintain goodwill and mutual understanding between an organization and its publics. It's a planned and sustained effort to establish and maintain goodwill, mutual understanding. Goodwill and mutual understanding between an organization and its publics. Now let's summarize this particular definition. When you talk about a sustained effort, it's a planned and sustained effort. It simply means that it is a planned and deliberate, it's a deliberate and an effort that needs to be put in place for as long as the organizations exist. So public relations is a deliberate and something that needs to be there for as long as the organization exists. Why is it there? It is there to establish and maintain goodwill. What is goodwill? Goodwill is simply a good name. Now, when you talk about goodwill, this takes me to those people who want to start businesses. Sometimes you are told, I'm selling my shop 250,000, the stock in it, and also a goodwill of 250,000. They are trying to tell you that there is that particular area has got a very good will. It has got a very good name. It has got a very good flow of customers. So when you talk about to establish, a planned and sustained effort to establish and maintain goodwill is to maintain the good relation. To maintain the good name of that place or to maintain the good name of that organization. And mutual understanding. Something mutual is something that is between 2 or more people. So there must be mutual understanding. There must be an understanding between the organization and its publics. And when you talk about publics are groups of people that relate with an organization, either directly or indirectly. And we have so many, like Frank Jeffkins has classified the publics of public relations into various categories. Number one, we can talk about customers. Customers are publics of public relations. We can talk about consumers, because consumers are the end users of a product. We can talk about distributors. We can talk about the media. We can talk about the community. We can talk about the suppliers. We can talk about trade unions. We can talk about stakeholders and shareholders. All these people are publics of public relations. Therefore, when British Institute defines public relations, it's trying to say that it is a deliberate effort that must be sustained. It must live as long as the organization exists, And this deliberate effort is to ensure that there is mutual understanding. I mean, there is maintenance of good name, and there is what we call mutual understanding, that the public must be able to understand what the organization exists to do. The suppliers, those who are supplying materials in an organization, they need to know this organization exists to do what? It exists to satisfy who? The media need to know. The community needs to know. If you're opening a business, the community needs to know this business is all about what, so that they can come and buy your products and services. So they need that understanding. They need that understanding. They need to know how much are you selling your products? Where are you getting your products from? And so on and so forth. So that is definition from British Institute of Public Relations. Then we go to definition by Frank Jeffkins. Actually, Frank Jeffkins is late. The late Frank Jeffkins and Daniel Yardi. Frank Jeffkins and Daniel Yardi. And Frank Jeffkins, this is what he says, that PR consists of all forms of planned communication. So there must be deliberate communication, that before you communicate to your public, you must be able to know, you must be able to plan for that communication. So it consists of all forms of planned communication, either inwards or outwards, between an organization and its public. So when you talk about inward and outward, then we go back to the publics. The publics of public relations are classified into two major categories. We have internal publics and we have external publics. So whenever an organization communicates internally, it is communicating to its internal publics. And whenever an organization communicates outwards, it communicates into its external publics. Like when you talk about the employees, the potential, the employees, not the potential, but the employees in an organization. These are publics of public relations who are internal publics. So therefore, Jeffkins says that it is a planned communication outwards and inwards between an organization and its publics. Remember, we said publics are groups of people that deals with an organization or interacts with an organization, either directly or indirectly. And why is it there is inward and outward communication between an organization and its public? It's to achieve a specific objective. It's actually to make sure that their relationship, the relationship between publics of public relations and the organization is understood. Even in your relationship, when you stay, if you are staying with your father or your mother, or maybe a boyfriend and a girlfriend, there must be communication. And if you don't communicate, say for example, umetoka on a Friday, today is Friday, umetoka on a Friday night, you are not communicating where you are. It is 12 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. on a Saturday. 7 a.m., you are nowhere to be found. 12 p.m. hauonekani. Saa 7 p.m. imefika. Saa 12 jioni imefika. Alafu unatokea Monday morning. You just get into the house. Do you think that relationship will last? Maybe you have a boyfriend, or maybe you are staying with your father, or you are staying with your mother. It is not going to be a good relationship. It's going to be a relationship that is never understood. And I can guarantee you, one of you has to move out of that house, either your mom or you. And the person depending on the other will be the one moving first. So that is it. In every relationship, in other words, what I'm trying to tell you, there must be a mutual understanding, and this mutual understanding comes from communication. There must be communication. There is no relationship that can exist and can last for a very long time without communication. So communication is a very key thing when it comes to a relationship. It can be business relationship, and so on and so forth. Let's go to our third definition of public relations. And this one is a Mexican statement. I think I like this statement, even though it might look complicated, even though it might look like it is very long. It is the easiest. It is the easiest. And this is what they say, that the Mexican statement says that PR practice is the art and social science. It's the art and social science of analyzing trends, predicting their consequences, counseling organizational leaders, and implementing planned program of actions which will serve both the organization and the public interests. That is the Mexican statement. So in other words, they are saying that public relations involves those things that those issues that relate to art and those issues that relate to science. Sometimes we apply science issues to solve science problems. Sometimes we apply our thinking or our way. I mean, we apply the art in us to do what we call to solve a certain problem. Therefore, we are saying the Mexican statement says that it is a social science of analyzing trend. Analyzing trend simply means you look at the way things are happening. For example, it's an organization. It's a new organization. You've just established a new organization, and this organization is selling products and services. Call this product coffee. Call the product coffee, or you can call the product soap. We are a soap manufacturing industry or a coffee manufacturing industry. Then, number one, as a PR practitioner, you need to analyze the trends of that coffee. You need to analyze how are customers saying about these products? What are they saying about our soap? Why do they like it? Do they hate it? Something of the sort. Is it reaching the customer? You are analyzing the trends about this product of yours. Then you need to predict consequences. As a PR practitioner seated in an organization, you need to predict any consequences that arises from the action that is being taken by the organization. What are some of the consequences of this product of yours? Once you predict the consequences before releasing the product to the market, then you need to cancel the organization leaders. Yani unaita wale leaders wa organization, you cancel them. You tell them, if you take this route, these are the consequences that you're likely to face. If you take this route, it has got less consequences as opposed to route A or route B. You are canceling the organization leaders. And then after canceling the organization leaders, you come up with you implement a planned program of action. A planned program of action. And this action must serve both the interests of the organization and the public. If it doesn't serve the interests of the public, then just know that that action, wewe tu ndio nyinyi kama organization utakaa tu nayo, because at the end of the day, PR is establishing good relationship and mutual understanding between the organization and its public. So therefore, I think those are the three definitions that you need to know. Unless there is a question up to that point. Any question? Do you have any question? If you have a question, you just raise your hand up. I'll see you. So let's go to the models of PR, or we call them the modes of PR practice. So PR, when you talk about modes, it is models or modes. They describe a set of values and patterns or behavior that are characterized or that characterizes the approach taken by a PR department. So a PR department can take any mode of communication or any model of communication when communicating to the public or when communicating to the public, either internal or external. So the models differ from one another. It differs from one another. And these models of communication is like, for example, we have number one, the press agentry or publicity. Press agentry or publicity. The press agentry or publicity, simply you can think of You can think of the news. You can think of the newspaper. You can think of a media house. You can think of a media house. You can think of a newspaper. You can think of the news, new media channels, and so on and so forth. What is the purpose of the media house? Like right now, I am very happy that we are in the period of campaign. Come August 9th, there will be elections. Before we get to the elections, you're going to hear a lot of propaganda from media. Not every media house gives authentic information. Not every media or every digital media that should be trusted. So many media houses, they exist because of propaganda. The propaganda that they give is the one that has made them exist. So the press agency, its purpose is propaganda, to spread information. Jeffkins defines propaganda as information that is not true. And this information is for supporting a belief. The information is supporting creed or belief. That's what Jeffkins says. So when you talk about press agency as the mode of communication, it is a one-way communication, complete with the truth. I mean, the truth is not essential. The truth is not essential. So it's one-way communication. Inatokanga tu mara moja. Kwa newspaper unasikia imetoka kwa a certain YouTube channel. You hear it is coming from maybe a certain radio channel, a certain online radio channel, and so on and so forth. So in other words, it is one-way communication. You don't have a chance to do or to interact with the media to ask whether it is true or not. Because when you talk about two-way communication, is I am communicating to you and you are communicating to me. And the purpose of a two-way communication is for mutual understanding. So press agency it's a one-way communication, and true is not essential. Truth is not essential. Number two, it has got little research in it. Anything that is propaganda, it has got little research in it. Anything that will be spread during this period of campaign, watch the media. You are a student at Zitech University, watch the media. You're going to realize that there are so many propaganda that are being spread about maybe a certain political party by a certain media. And you know, we are living in a third world country. We are living in a third world country. Why? I mean, we are living in a third world country where politicians pay the media to spread bad information about a certain politician so that this person can be favored as opposed to his opponent, something like that. When we go to public information model or mode, public information mode, also we can think of newspapers that are authentic, like Nation is authentic, The Standard is authentic, the media station that we watch, or the media station that we switch on to, like Citizen, K24, KTN, Nation, and so on and so forth. Those are public information models. And its purpose is to disseminate information. The purpose of TV, the purpose of radio is to disseminate information. And it is one-way communication. That whenever you listen to the news, you don't have a chance to ask a question. You don't have a chance to interact with the presenter. It is one-way communication. Therefore, truth is important. So whenever KTN presenters are giving information, they should give you information that is true. Because if they don't give you information that is true, then you are going not to listen to them next time. Unasema KTN, hiyo wana spreading propaganda. And then KTN will fall under press agent or publicity. Then from there, little research. There is little research. And then there is what we call readership and readability. We can think of even a newspaper. It can be read. There is little research on readership and readability. That is what it means. There is little research on readership and readability. That they are sending, like for example, the Nation media, they are sending the information through the newspaper. they don't know whether people will be able to read or not. Leadership simply mean usomekaji, usomaji wa gazeti na usomekaji. Readability ni usomekaji. Hujui kama wataweza kusoma ama watashindwa kusoma. That's what it means. Then there is two-way asymmetric. Two-way asymmetric is another model of communication or mode of communication as far as PR is concerned, and its purpose is for scientific persuasion. It's for scientific persuasion. Like we had COVID-19, and COVID-19 is here in Kenya. Of course, with other variant coming in, like Omicron and Delta. And we are being informed on TV, being told, pata chanjo, be vaccinated. Sometimes last year, Mutahi Kagwe, the Minister of Health, said that if you are not vaccinated by 21st December, you will not be able to receive government services. And you'll be able now for you to receive government services, you have to produce a certificate to show that you've been vaccinated. So my point is this, its purpose is for scientific persuasion, that you need to be vaccinated. There is two-way communication imbalance. When you talk about two-way communication imbalance, there is that particular side that is giving you more information than you are giving it. Kama ukiangalia hii story ya COVID-19, unapata ya kwamba we are receiving a lot of information from the Ministry of Health, more than we are giving the Ministry of Health the information. So there is two-way communication imbalance effects. And the nature of research is formative attitude evaluation. Formative simply means that there is a lot of research that has been done. When you talk about COVID-19, there is a lot of research that has been done. Then we have lastly, the two-way symmetric. Two-way symmetric, its purpose is for mutual understanding. Two-way symmetric, it means that the receiver of the information and the sender of the information both can interact, both can create a mutual understanding by sharing information. So its purpose is mutual understanding. And there is two-way communication balance effect. Formative evaluation of understanding is there. So formative evaluation of understanding is that you are even asked, have you understood? Like for example, our class, we can put it under two-way symmetric. I am doing what I'm doing right now, teaching you so that you can understand. At the end of the class, I will ask who has a question. And then I will answer what? The question that you have. So that means that the purpose of this class falls under two-way symmetric model. Even organization operates under two-way symmetric model. They want the public to understand what it exists to do, and so on and so forth. And then there's a question I want to proceed. Any question up to where we have reached? Any question? So let's look at activities and parts of PR. Activities and parts of PR. These ones I'm going to go very fast. There are so many. No, actually there are 7 activities of PR. Activities of PR, these are things that PR engages itself in, like publicity. Publicity simply means letting information being known to the public. Like we can publicize Zetech University. That means that we want the public to know that Zetech University exists. That is publicity. So the purpose of our PR or activities of PR is number 1, it's publicity, which is also known as press agentry. Number 2, it's advertising. The purpose of advertising is to do what? Is to let people know about particular products and services. So public relations activity, second activity is advertising. It is involved so much in advertising. Thirdly, it is public affairs. Public affairs. And public affairs section in PR department, it is concerned with corporate citizenship, public policies such those that are concerned to design, to build and maintain community relations and governmental relationships. Like this one reminds me when I was a student, I was attached to Kenya Revenue Authority, and I was attached to this department because I have done communication and journalism. I was attached to Department of Marketing. It's usually known as MNC, Marketing and Communication, because I did communication and journalism. And in this department, there is what we call other sections in the department. One section in the department is what we call the marketing department. Remember, the general department is called marketing and communication, MNC. Then apart from marketing, there is the taxpayer service. Taxpayer service is simply customer service. And then apart from that, there is what we call the corporate affairs office. So nilipoingia siku ya kwanza tulianza na marketing, tukatoka marketing tukaenda customer service, tukatoka customer service tukaingia public affairs. And public affairs office simply deals with issues that are relating to the public. Like for example, if you are working with Kenya Power and Lighting, the public will come to the public affairs office to complain about maybe some thugs that steal transformer oil, or some thugs that maybe are vandalizing the electricity. And this reminds me of yesterday's news. Yesterday I watched news because of what Kenyans are doing towards development. Like for example, Thika Road, there were people that were seen vandalizing hiyo mabati ambayo inazuia barabara. Watu wanaiba chuma za stima, pata chuma ya stima imekatwa. Unapata barriers za bridge ambazo zinazuia magari kuanguka upande huu mwingine wa bridge. Watu wanaenda wanakata. So Uhuru was very angry. He said this, that scrap metal business has been banned in Kenya. So ukipatikana, you'll be charged with what we call, is it arson? Yeah, it said that treason, you'll be charged with treason. Because serikali inajaribu kutengeneza mambo fulani, lakini kuna wale ambao pia they are letting the government down. Wakisema hii ni tax yetu, pata mjamaa anajaribu kung'oa nini barriers za bridge, sema hii ni ile tax tunalipa. Sasa hiyo hata ana kazi na wala hana baadhi. Then we have lobbying. Lobbying is another activity of PR, and lobbying simply means being able to direct attention to the senior people in the government, being able to direct attention to the senior people in the government for things to be done. Like for example, you live in a rural area and you have been you use roads that looks like garden ama shamba, hazina tarmac. So for you to do business, or for you to move your products from the shambas to the market, it takes a lot of time before they get there. Then you can use maybe those people who are very vocal in the community to get in touch with people like the MCAs, to get in touch with people like the governors, people like the senators, so that these people can go and, like the MPs, they can go and discuss the issue in parliament, or put a motion in parliament that can be discussed with other parliamentarians on whether to maybe tarmac that road, on whether to give you or to bring electricity closer to you, and so on and so forth. Now, these people are called lobbyists. Lobbyists, they are activists. Sometimes we call them activists. No, yeah, we have activists. Yeah, sometimes we call them activists. And that is the purpose of PR, for lobbying. That's another activity of PR. We are going to cover lobbying as a topic. We're going to cover lobbying as a topic as we proceed. Then from there, we have issues management. An issue is a point of conflict between two or more people. An issue is a point of conflict between two or more people. Like if you have an issue with your friend, if that issue is not solved, it becomes a conflict. Like we have issues to do with Water. If the government is not able to deal with issues of water, maybe for example, somewhere in Garissa, they are not able to make sure that those people get clean water, then that issue becomes a conflict. Unapata communities zingine zinaleta ng'ombe zao wakunywe maji mahali pale, na ile maji ni ile ya kutafutililia. Unapata ya kwamba kunakuwa na vita between two communities because of water. Even grazing, we have seen the Pokot and the Marakwet fighting one another because of issues about cattle lastly. The Marakwet wanaiba ng'ombe za the Pokot. The Pokot on the other hand wanakuja na weapon wanabeba ng'ombe za the Marakwet, and so on and so forth. Because it has been an issue, and this issue was just kept below the carpet. And now it develops and becomes a what? A conflict. So the purpose of PR is to ensure that there is peace and peaceful environment, to ensure that issues are managed so that they do not graduate to become conflicts. Also development, PR activity is development to ensure that there is development in all aspects of life. For example, through fundraising, through non-profit organizations, like you have seen things to do with organizations coming together, like the Detoran. We have what we call the Kaine Marathon to raise fund. Actually, yeah, you've heard of issue to do with Wings to Fly by Equity Bank, to make sure that they raise funds, and these funds are used to educate the less fortunate in the society, or they are capable, they are very bright, but they cannot afford school fees and so on and so forth. Then we also have financial PR, that other activity of public relations. Financial PR comes in this way. Yeah? It's to advertise an organization. Like for example, I believe you have at one point bought a newspaper, and you find a bank like KCB or Cooperative Bank of Kenya. They've advertised their financial statement there. They are telling you that we have been in the market for the past maybe 40 years. Ketepa has been there for 41 years. What are they trying to tell you? They are trying to tell you that they are very stable financially. They are trying to tell you that you can bank with them and trust them the year that they have been there, because they are people or investors who are looking for places to invest. And they want an organization that is stable, an organization that has been there for maybe over 40 years or 30 years. So that is financial PR. We are going also to have a topic on financial PR and also a topic on sponsorship. Sponsorship is an area of communication, and sponsorship does not only involve money. You cannot, it's not all about money. Sponsorship is not all about money. You can sponsor someone to do what? A photographer to go abroad, or even to buy a camera. You can even sponsor an event like games. You can sponsor a game. Like there was a time Harambee Stars wanted support from Kenyans because they were going to, it was, I don't know whether it was a qualifying match for World Cup, and so they needed funds and so on and so forth. So Kenyans started donating 20 shillings, something like that. That is sponsorship. You are sponsoring them. Maybe they will win. Maybe they will do what? They'll perform better. But it is a disgrace. Kenyan community, Kenyan football, Harambee Stars. When you look at them, they are very old guys. Some of them, I started hearing them a long time ago. But they still keep on saying that our 20 years. I'm wondering, I don't know. Something of the sort. So PR can be distinguished from various ideas, because many people, yeah, Mwangi Kabuyu, you have a question. Go on.
kindly list for us the activities and parts of PR from number one without explaining.
I list for you.
Yes.
Okay, let's go back. So activities of PR, according to Kabuya Taku's list down, we have publicity or press agentry. Publicity of press agentry. Number two, we have advertising. That's an activity of public relations. Number three, we have public affairs. Number four, we have lobbying. Number five, we have issues management. And we said an issue is a point of conflict between two or more people. Then we have development. Sometimes we use PR in matters of development. We also have financial public relations, sponsorship. I think there are 7 sponsorship. Those are what we call activities of public relations. Then from there, we have public relations distinguished from other areas. So PR, you're going to realize that it is like when you ask people, what is public relations? They will start telling you it is advertising. Start telling you that public relations is marketing. Public relations is publicity. It is a propaganda. It is this, it is that. No, PR is much better and bigger activity than all those disciplines. So when you look at PR and advertising, there is what we call PR has been distinguished from advertising. So these ones you are going to read on your own. It has also been distinguished from marketing. The purpose of marketing is, actually you can see the definition. Marketing is the management process responsible for identifying, anticipating, and satisfying customers' requirements profitably. You see, there is the word profit there. PR does not exist to make profit. It exists to create mutual understanding and goodwill between an organization and its customers. It has also been distinguished from sales promotion. So when you talk about sales promotion, this is a demand stimulating activity. The purpose of a sales promotion is to stimulate demand so that people can flock in supermarkets, in shops, and buy products. That is not the purpose of PR. The purpose of PR is to tell you that Zetech University offers these courses. Just that, it's not advertising. To let you know, so that when you're coming from, you are referring your friend, you are very sure that this is what Zetech University offers. But it does not do what we call, what do you call it? So it does not do sales promotion. So when you talk about sales promotion, it's a demand stimulating activity to stimulate demand so that people can buy more products. Kama vile unapoingia supermarket, tunasikia tuko na promotion, buy one get one free. That's promotion. Ama unasikia kuna promotion mahali fulani, kuna caravan zinapita, and then you are told to dance. The one who will be the winner, we are going to give them a gift hamper, and so on and so forth. So we also have PR distinguished from propaganda.
Getting a bit sad.
Gracious, can you hear? Can you hear?
I can.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry for that. Hapa nimekaa sima imepotea. Kwa sababu imepotea imeanza kunionyesha ya kwamba audio haifanyi, so I had to deal with the audio part so that everything can be okay. But now I hope everything is okay. Everyone can hear me. Allow me to share my screen. Wewe unasema ya kwamba from your end you can't hear me. Let me ask, Esther, can you hear me? Esther? Kindly, if you can hear me, it's always good to say that you can hear me so that I continue instead of James. James Masarai, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you. Then we are going to continue because kuna mtu ananiambia hapa hanisikii na sielewi kivipi. Ile kitu imekataa sasa kurudi hapa ni kamera. Sikuwa nimeweka kamera yangu on. No. Okay. Then it's okay. Now let me share my screen so that we can continue. I'm going to move faster because I've realized that I don't know what is happening. My machine cannot share. After stima imepotea, inashindwa kushare. I hope you can see my screen now. I have tried my best to make sure that I can share my screen. I'll move very fast. So there is what we call PR, distinguished from other disciplines. Number one, we talked about propaganda. We've not talked about, I think we've talked about marketing, sales, promotion, but we've not talked about propaganda. We said that propaganda is a means of gaining support for an opinion of creed or belief. And this is where you realize that many politicians are going to use propaganda against another so that they can be favored. Again, propaganda is information that is not true about something or about someone. Apart from there, public relation has also been distinguished from publicity. Publicity is letting or making something known to the public. Making something known to the public. Then from there, we have images. We have these ones you are going to read of yourself: mirror images, current image, wish image, corporate image, and multiple images. They have been well communicated there. And then qualities of a good PR practitioner. A good PR practitioner must have ability to get on with all kinds of people. You must be a good person who can get on well with all kinds of people. Lazima ukuwe ni mtu wa watu, ya kwamba mtu yoyote unaweza kuongea naye, mnaweza kusemezana na mkaelewana. Ability to communicate. You must have ability to communicate both in written language and both in verbal. Even the way you dress is also part of communication. So communication is very broad. Ability to organize. You need to have the ability to organize things. Even if it's an advert you are writing, you must have the ability to do what? To make sure that that advert is properly organized. Personal integrity, both in your professional and your private life. You must have personal integrity. You don't take bribes. You don't, somebody will not come and pay for information. You're not looking at gender inequality, as in you are favoring a certain gender compared to another. You are not intruding into someone's private life, intrusion into grief and shock, and so on and so forth. Again, you must have imagination, that you must be a person who is creative, who has a creative sense, in terms of writing, in terms of maybe editing, planning campaigns. You must be a very good and a very creative person when it comes to PR. You also must have the ability to find out. In other words, if you're a journalist, a PR practitioner must be like a journalist. Find out to get the right information. Because the moment you write negative things or about someone, or something that is not true about someone, then you'll be doing what is called defamation, and defamation attracts very huge penalties. Again, you have what we call ability to research. You need to do research. You must be a person who can do research and evaluate the results of a PR campaign. Like when you do a campaign, you must go down and think about whether it was able to bring out the results that is required. Then you have your role there as a PR practitioner. You are an expert prescriber. So a PR practitioner is seen as the best qualified to handle PR programs and identify solutions to them. That's why you are called an expert prescriber. You are seen as the best person to handle PR problems and identify solutions to them. You are a communication facilitator. You are the one that facilitates communication between maybe the public and the organization, between an organization and another organization, between various sections of the organization, and so on and so forth. You are a problem-solving facilitator also. In case there is a problem in the organization, you are the one facilitating to ensure that that particular problem in an organization has been solved. And lastly, you are a communication technician. You are a communication technician. But when it comes to writing feature stories, when it comes to preparing and editing newsletters, and what we call manuscripts and handling content, you are the one that creates a mutual understanding between media and the organization. So you must be a communication technician. Yes. So when you talk about PR department, we have internal and external. Internal PR departments are the ones that are within the organization. Like, for example, if you're talking like of an organization like Safaricom, it has got its own PR department that deals with PR problems. An external PR department is a consultant. You seek services from outside because you don't have your own department, or maybe you have your own department, but it is not able to handle the problem that or the task that you have at hand as an organization. So we also have the responsibility of the PR manager. Number one is to set targets and define objectives for them, to estimate the working hours and other resources that need to be costed, to decide priorities that you need to know which is more important than the other, if at all you're talking about that, and to decide the feasibility of carrying out the declared objective in the light of the available funds, existing in staff and equipment. So those are going to read on the PR manager and the PR manager and management, how they can cooperate. The PR department, what it does, and so on and so forth. I will stop there and allow you to go and read those things. I don't want to spend much time on teaching and eat up on your time that you're supposed to do activities. So unless there is a question, I will stop at that point. Topic 1 is usually very huge. It has got 15 pages and I have to rush that. Topic 2 is not that huge. Something that will take 45 minutes and I'm done. So unless there is a question, I will stop at that point. But before I stop, remember I said that in every class that I teach you, there are usually activities. They are usually what we call activities, and these activities must be done. It is not an option whether I should do or not. These ones must be done. So allow me to read the activities for you. Now, before I read the activities for you, the register you're going to do it to mark it by yourself. So this is a huge class. I'm expecting 100 students in this class. So the register, the attendance, you will be marking by yourself. And by so saying, you need the password. Today is on when? Today is 21st. Today is 21st. Today is 21st, and because today is 21st, don't sign on 14th. Don't sign on 14th. You are signing your register on 21st. So I'm giving you the password for today's class. And I'm sharing it with you there. I'm sharing it on the chat. So that is your password for today's register. Remember, today is 21st. Don't go to the 14th, 21st. That is the password for today's register. So you can use that password to go to the 21st. Leo, tarehe ya leo, to sign your register. Remember, I was looking for the activities. I wanted to read for you the activities of today's class. So these are the activities of today's class. Number one, you need to realize that I have unleashed today's notes. You can download them. Today's notes have been unleashed. The next thing is activity one. You've been told, read any other supplementary reading material outlining the role of PR in an organization. You read any other supplementary reading material outlining the role of PR in an organization. That is activity one, which is reading. Activity two is discussion. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages of internal public relations department. Remember, we said an internal public relations department is the one that the organization has formed within it. External is a consultancy. They seek what we call services from that particular consultant. PR services, of course. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages of internal public relations department. Must